broke. Everything broke. I lost interest in everything. I was totally wrapped up in my addiction. I tried every way I could not to feel anything. The only emotion I really felt out loud was anger, and it was directed at God. My name is Nathan Reeves, and I am from Murphy, North Carolina, and spent a great childhood. I had amazing parents that raised me in the church. I wound up actually going to college and becoming a school teacher. I got married early, and God was not a part of that decision. He wasn't a part of my thought process at the time, because it led to a divorce and began the development of my addiction.
My name's Daddy Reeves. I'm Nathan Reeves' dad. And most of the time he calls me Daddy. Nathan had always been a really bright student, a really aggressive worker, always concerned about other people. So we hoped it was a temporary glitch and that it would be something that would self-correct.
As life progressed, I wound up with a girl named Amy that I loved very much. We actually got engaged, and Amy overdosed in 2016. They decided to remove her life support. I didn't know how to deal with it. I dove into addiction again, wound up doing my first time in prison for 8 months, and came home and met another girl. The pattern here for me was that I was making women the center of my life. I never focused on Jesus being the Lord, and I made idols out of women that I love still to this day with all my heart, but I know what's the most important thing now. Casey and I were together for 5 years, and she got pregnant while we were still engaged. At 8 months, my mother had been working on our baby shower. Well, the morning of, I got up and was painting the baby's room and all that good fun stuff, and was, in a great mood. Well, Casey woke up that day and wasn't feeling well. And I asked her if she wanted me to take her to the hospital. And she told me no, that my mom had spent too much effort and time organizing this baby shower. So she asked me to go. And when I got back, if she wasn't feeling better, we would go to the hospital. By the time I got back, Casey was suffering from preeclampsia. So when I got home, Casey was blind. She couldn't see me. So at that point, I called an ambulance and get her to the hospital. Once they arrived there, they determined what the problem was and started trying to treat it, and missed that her water had actually broken in transit. So my son was in the birth canal for an extended period of time before they realized and did an emergency C-section. Casey, unfortunately, passed away during surgery. And my son was delivered and flown to Erlanger in Chattanooga. 3 days later, I was able to go to Erlanger and hold my son for the first time, as they disconnected his life support. He had been born brain dead from lack of oxygen in the birth canal. This is where the worst day of my life started. And this is the last place that I saw Casey alive before She went to the hospital, and I didn't get to see her anymore. And this is where I thought that my world just ended. You know, this this is a painful place for me to be. I still can't go inside. You know, for all I know, the paintbrush and stuff's still in the baby's room. I'm not sure, and I can't say that I'll ever know. I broke. Everything broke. I lost interest in everything. I was totally wrapped up in my addiction. I tried every way I could not to feel anything. The only emotion I really felt out loud was anger, and it was directed at God. And this went on for about a year until I was finally arrested and taken to jail. That's where I finally just, that was it for me. I couldn't fight anymore. And God just kept sending preachers to this jail. I mean, it didn't even make no sense. There were preachers there every day, it seemed like, until finally I came out and talked to one of them and realized that was the only way forward for me, was to follow him. And I gave my life to God, to Jesus at that point. I was released from jail and did well for a short period of time, but I still didn't find any kind of discipleship anywhere to learn what that meant to have an actual relationship with Jesus. So it wasn't long before I was messing up again, wound up getting arrested and getting charged with a very serious charge with very serious consequences. And sitting in jail, somehow, God made a way for me to come to Men's Challenge. Once I got here, I had to go through forgiveness for myself, for others, and learning to accept that despite my mistakes, I am a child of the living King.
My wife and I, we were elated, relieved, hopeful, and of course, always prayerful that it would be the beginning of his recovering from that addiction. And not only the addiction, but some of the pent up hurt that he was feeling. We came, of course, to visit every opportunity that we had, and it was just a marked change in him. Much more loving, much more open to discussion about what was going on with him, just much freer.
I wound up graduating and got offered the opportunity to come back to be an intern here. 9 days after my graduation, I had a court date still from where I had all my issues before, and got sentenced to go to prison for 14 months.
We were going to be there and be supportive of him, whatever took place. And about halfway there, he was allowed a call to tell us, don't bother coming. I've accepted the plea agreement and I am going to prison. Nobody wants their kid in prison for sure, but it could have been way, way worse. And we were grateful for that. He had to have that indwelling spirit in him to withstand that. And we felt good about that.
In that time, my mother was battling cancer and had been for roughly 18 months. Even as things got progressively worse, and like 2 days before we had a video visit, in the course of that video visit, Daddy was showing her the phone and showing her me on the screen, and asked her. She said, "Debbie, do you know who this is?" And she looked up and she said, "That's my son." And at the, in the moment, yeah, there was emotion, but there was like an overwhelming sense of pride for someone who had walked the walk she had and lived the way she had lived. She had supported me from day one till the last day she could. She passed away while I was gone. The worst day that happened while I was in prison, all in one day, I found out that I wasn't going to get to come to my mom's visitation, even though they had said that I probably would. And I also found out that my release date had been posted wrong, all in one day, and it changed by 6 months, 5 or 6 months. And my response to that was to go back to my cell, and I put in my earphones and I put on, I don't remember if it was the light or his radio, and I'm like dancing around and singing. And if anybody who knows me knows I can't sing. It was awful. But there were guys in the vent line when I finally took my earphones out, they started yelling at me, "Man, what's wrong with you? We know everything that you just got told. How is this not the worst day of your life?" And I said, "I can tell you, but if you've got a minute." So for 30 minutes, I got to share everything that Jesus has done for me, the way he's changed my heart, the way he's made my life positive. I had joy that day, and that's not natural, that's supernatural. And I'm so grateful for that. And now that I'm back here, I hope that not just in what I say, but that in my walk, people can see the grace that's available, that, that unmerited favor. And no matter where you're at, he's right there waiting.
I think had Ben's challenge not come into Nathan's life, that there was a very good possibility that his mom and I would have gotten to bury him. That would have destroyed us both. You've got to love that person, that son or that daughter that's in that process of addiction. You don't go around and act ashamed of them. If they're your kid, they're yours until one of you part this life. But if you need help, I would certainly recommend a facility such as this, Men's Challenge, where the Word of God is spoken, where it's taught, where they're given opportunity to give their life to Christ. Just keep trusting in Him, for the labor is not ended. And it doesn't end just with my son. There's hundreds of thousands of them out there that need this help. And I encourage you today, if you are outside that realm, that you don't have a son or a daughter or a family member that's in addiction, you got neighbors that do. They need help. And you may be the very help that they need. I'm really proud of where you are and what you're doing and where your life could be headed.
Thank you.
I love you.
I love you. My God's amazing. He strengthens me every day. He enables me to see Him move in me in every day. And He uses parts of my life that I couldn't use. Again, it's supernatural. And I'm so excited to see what's next.
You know, if it's just one person that recovers, it's worth it all.